Hello, you're listening to Over the Oxer podcast with Tracy Cole for all things to do with the mind for equestrians. So this week I am thrilled to introduce to you John Lewis. John is a mindset coach and he works with sporting individuals and teams, but he also works with businesses and people in their personal lives and helps them to develop and overcome the obstacles stopping them from performing at their best. He's also, really interestingly, a mental health awareness trainer too. So warm welcome, John. Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tracy. It's an absolute pleasure. And, it's great to see the amazing work that you do. I've been following you on LinkedIn, Tracy. So I'm not
Ah.
stalking you, but I'm very interested in all the work you do also. So thank you very
Oh,
much for having me.
thank you. No, it's great to meet somebody who also uses NLP and mindset and a combination of tools to help people in sport. Because I think if you help people in sport, you help them in their lives as well. Because usually the sport is the therapy for them, it's the
Mm.
relaxation time. So if you take that away, or if that is somehow taken away, then they start to falter in other areas of their life. Is that what you find as well?
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely agree, and not even just at kind of top level or elite level, even at grassroots level, you appreciate how important sport is in people's lives. I guess for a lot of people, gives them a different focus away from the Monday to Friday work and the treadmill. And sport for a lot of people is a massive release, and you can understand why it's so emotional for people, because it does play a massive part in I would say the majority of people's lives. So many different amazing sports. So yeah, you can see how sport impacts, like I say, not even just at the elite level, but even for day-to-day people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most people do something. I mean, not everybody, but they
Mm.
do that something and they do it passionately. And as you know, I'm working with horse riders, and they definitely have to have a passion because, who wants to get up early in the morning to go and muck out? You've got to have a passion for it. So
Yeah.
how did you get into mindset?
Well, for me, I've always been interested, even at a young age. I always say when I came on this journey of NLP, I think I studied NLP with a coaching certification. That was 2 years, kind of that process. Um, that was just an extension of how I felt I was as a person anyway. So from a young age, I was always interested in people and helping people and supporting people, understanding how people operated. Um, I think for myself as well, I've always been quite a positive person, and I always saw the impact I have had on people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not got the blueprint to life, and I don't feel happy. I'm a normal
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
but just at the crux of it, I felt um, it was a calling for me.
yeah.
It was a calling, and when I found out about NLP, it was like, wow, I just want to understand more, because NLP got a bit of a bad rep back in the 80s, didn't it, where it was
Yeah.
classed as pseudoscience. But it's just so widely, um, it's actually a job description now, isn't it, an NLP
Mm.
practitioner, and it's just so widely used in health sectors, in businesses, in education, that it just goes to show the power of it, the power of NLP. And when I kind of understood more about NLP, probably 5, 6 years ago, I was like, wow, I want a piece of that. I want to understand more, a thirst for knowledge. And again, that's my own mindset is, okay, I want to understand more about this, um, so I can understand tools and techniques to help people to overcome their own obstacles. We all have them,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
And we're all a
and
work in progress as well, aren't we? That's what some people don't perhaps realize, that you've studied the NLP and you know the techniques, you know the concepts, but you still have to work on your own mindset from time to time because life happens.
well, you mean you're human as well, Tracy?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a bit of a curveball question, but I like to ask people who've done NLP because when you say to somebody that you're an NLP practitioner or an NLP coach or whatever it might be, people come back to you and say, "Oh, what's that?" And okay, a certain amount of people now have heard about it, and I know a lot of the listeners will have heard about it. But I'm always curious, what's your response to that? What is NLP? What is it to you?
NLP.
Yeah.
Wow. And I thought this earlier before we came on, and I don't know, I have these conversations with myself, and my description of NLP is a toolbox to help people, understand themselves, a different level of awareness where they can, help themselves in with a range of different tools.
Yeah.
NLP for people means different things, but me, I
Yeah.
see it as that. It's a range of tools to offer people.
Yeah.
As a coach, we go through the process with people, and I love it at the end where I say, okay, we've done this now. That tool is yours.
Yeah.
Remember how you do that. And like most things, Tracy, it takes practice. It's not just a case of come into the office and we'll do this and go away in the world. Like, it's a skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
You offer somebody the tools. Okay, now you need to go home and practice this, visualize this. It doesn't just end when the session finishes,
Yeah.
but it's, there's the tool, go and use it. So I think in a short, to answer your question, NLP are powerful tools for people to, help them understand themselves better and give them a different maybe way of overcoming things that they didn't think they were able to overcome.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. And I love the fact that you have said something that I often say to people that if you have a session or if you read an NLP book or whatever you do, it's not going to be a quick fix that it's
Mm.
instantaneous. You might feel better, but you have to keep working on it. And like you said, there's things like anchoring and other tools that we can use and we can teach people in a session, but then they have to go away and practice it. And I think that sometimes is the missing link that people
Mm.
think, oh, I have a session and there's this magic wand and they wave the wand over me and
Mm.
I'm fixed, I'm done. But of
Mm.
course you're not. So how do you inspire people to keep using their mindset tools? Because, we've got so many things. Honestly, I do Equipilates, and my Equipilates teacher
Wow.
says, when you're boiling the kettle, you could just be doing this quick exercise. And when you've got a pan on the stove, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got so many things to do. I have no spare time. I can't even boil a kettle without having to do some Pilates or something. So how do you persuade people and inspire people to keep on with it and keep practicing it?
Mm. So one thing I'll say to people, there's a generalization straight away. One thing I say to people is, you've conditioned yourself to think and believe certain things for possibly, depending on the age of the client,
Yeah,
you condition yourself to think and feel a certain way and respond to certain ways. And it could be for years, Tracy. It could be for 15, 20, 25, 30 years, you know.
yeah,
So you condition yourself to think in a way. And I always say, think of this hour session as we're throwing a spanner in the work. Think of a wheel. Again, the metaphor, think of the wheel. That wheel's been turning for 15 years. And while it's been turning, beliefs have been thrown in, challenges have been thrown in, and you've conditioned yourself to think a certain way. Now, imagine I've now, through the session, put like a wooden block. I don't want them to go flying off the off the bike. And now all of a sudden, we've thrown something in the works where it's
yeah,
opened up a different new way of thinking. Okay, that's in 1 hour.
yeah,
So you've conditioned yourself for 25, how many years, depending on the age of the client. And now in 1 hour, we've worked on some tools, we've given you a different way of thinking. If you think in 1 hour, things, for some, you know yourself, Tracy, things happen more quickly for certain clients. For an hour, sometimes it is life changing because it's helped them see things that possibly they've not seen for 15, 20 years.
yeah,
you know and I think that's kind of how I positively encourage people to kind of take what we've done and move with it. It's the fact of you've seen a little shift here, a different way of thinking in an hour. Now imagine how that will feel, in a week's time. If you keep practicing, they might come back for another session in 2 weeks, and I'll get them to reflect, okay, so tell me what was different that 2 weeks with this new way of thinking or this new belief, or you anchored here, or, we did some timeline work here, because you're seeing things in a different way, reflect
Yeah.
on how that 2 weeks been. So that conditioning of 25 years of how it's been, okay, in 2 weeks, what's that progress? And I think the more people see small incremental changes,
Yeah.
it then helps their belief system to actually now start looking at things in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Mm,
it's that little celebration, isn't it? That I might not be where I want to be, but I'm almost there, and I'm certainly moving forwards. And this is the most I've moved forwards in, like you say, 20, 25 years.
mm,
And it's quite astounding, isn't it, that you can change your brain, you can change your thinking. And
mm,
lots of people think that you can't, that you're set in stone. This is the way I was born, this is my genetics,
mm,
or I'm a really shy person because I was bullied, or I'm this because of that. And to understand that nothing is set in stone is so powerful. So
mm,
what kind of things can you help sports people with? What are your main areas, if you like, with the sports people you work with?
mm. It's all, again, it's all varied because, it's all the conversation we have with ourselves, isn't it? And two people maybe seeing me because of a lack of confidence, but again, how they're processing that
Mm.
normalization of confidence is different from person to person. So the way you structure the session, knowing the outcome, for example, they want to feel more confident, which again, to answer your question, is probably the highest percentage
Right.
of
Yeah, that's
what
interesting.
people kind of want to build on.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that, it's confidence that they want to work on, that, okay, there's a different reason to why they're not feeling confident. It may have been a past experience or somebody else's belief that they've kind of taken on themselves as their own, or, they're just feeling a certain way. But I would say, and again, that toolbox of NLP helps with a whole range of kind of internal blockages that people have.
Yeah.
But I would say the word confidence
Yeah. Yeah.
comes up a lot, and you probably see that as well, Tracy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is the number one. Because
Mm,
I think sometimes people don't realize that mindset work or mental performance, whatever you want to call it, isn't only confidence, of course, is it? There's a whole range of other things. There's imposter syndrome and self-doubt and
mm.
limiting beliefs, and we can do all kinds of things in our brains. We're really good at this.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so we can really help people with a whole slew of different problems. And when you work with a team, do you do you tend to work with the individuals one by one, or do you have team coaching, or do you do a bit of both?
Mm. So I do a bit of both, and I've done a bit of both. And again, it's probably a belief of mine. Proper coaching. So for me, proper coaching. I say proper coaching. Is one on one, because I feel when you're one on one with somebody, you can really, they're more. You offer them the safe space, offer them the confidence that nothing's going to go further. I
Yeah,
feel that's when people really then open up, because again, on the surface it's a lack of confidence, but again, the reason may be something deeper. And I personally feel that kind of only really opens up when you're one to one.
yeah,
When I'm working with a team, it's more of a team dynamic. So you're getting everybody's input from the team, which yes can help people understand how everybody's thinking and feeling as a team.
yeah,
But I think it just kind of scratches the surface.
yeah, yeah.
It scratches the
Yeah,
surface. Whereas when you're working one on one with people, again, they're more likely to disclose their real feelings. Where
yeah,
work I've done, I work a lot as we said before, in rugby. I've done stuff with performing arts teams and whatnot. Some people are too afraid to actually put their hand up and tell everybody exactly how they're feeling, because again, possible stigma. So they don't want to say they're feeling this way or that way. It's not until you get people into a one-to-one situation where they really, they really invest in wanting to get the outcome from the session. So then I feel it's a different dynamic. For me, when you're working with a team, it's more facilitation. When you're one-on-one, it is what I would say, kind of coaching.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously there are equestrian teams as well. There are sports that are obviously team sports like polo and horseball. And sometimes riders will ride as a dressage team, for instance, in certain competitions. And they're small teams, maybe 4 or 5 people, something like that. So a little bit different to rugby maybe and ice hockey and some of the other sports you've worked with. But what for you is the key then in a mindset way? What's the key to team success?
Wow, there's a question. That's why you're a good. That's why you're a good coach, Tracy. For me, what is the key to success? For me, the key to success is whether you're a team of 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 15 people. You all have the same. You all have the same goal, or the same outcome that you want to achieve. Because then when you've got the whole group who are kind of pulling in the same direction, I feel you're all there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. If I can use that term, because it's all that common goal. I mean, what you find is even without work that I do, I love football, for example, and you can see when people aren't pulling in the same direction, how it then can affect the whole dynamic, the outcome of the team, and it's always one of those things when you're in a team kind of dynamic, isn't it? Because you've got people who want to achieve their personal goals within that bigger goal, and I think that's important to kind of people understand as well. What specific part am I playing within this bigger thing? So from a mindset point of view, it's kind of understanding self, my strengths, my weaknesses, but being open and honest with the rest of the team, because then it just helps everybody understand what the big team goal is, but also it gives you more that personable kind of interest and support for other team members, because you all want the best for each other.
Yeah, and it's so crucial to be supportive, isn't it? Because if you've got individual performance, that everyone has an off day. And it doesn't matter what sport you're talking about, but obviously, if you've got an equestrian sport, you've got to think about your horse as well. And horses get out of the bed on the wrong side; they have off days as well. So you can have somebody who doesn't perform well, but if they're teammates and they know their teammates are supportive no matter what, then that's crucial, isn't it? And I suppose you were talking about, you do a range of techniques, not only NLP, but you think about people's well-being. So do you try and engender that supportive kind of atmosphere within a team as well?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. And it's something, again, it's a belief of mine. Might be right, might be wrong. It's just my belief. You've got to feel well in yourself before you can perform at your best. So I think at the fundamentals, you need to be feeling good in yourself before you can then kind of, go on and perform at your best. But then I also feel, and again, it goes back to the question you asked, we spoke about at the start, because sport is such an outlet for people, that I feel sport in its truest form is, scientifically proven how sport is beneficial for your mental, for mental well-being. So I feel, you need to be mentally feeling good in yourself to be able to, perform at your best level. And you probably see it with clients you have, Tracy. The reason some people aren't performing well in their sport isn't because of the sport. In fact, it's the sport is their outlet, so they're enjoying that, but it's because of reasons are totally away from the sport that is leading them to feel a certain way. So you kind of peel back from the performance to, okay, what really is at the heart of this? Tell me what is going on for you. And I think when you offer someone that space, and I'll say, I'll say, when I work with, say, men in sport, they come to me because their golf game isn't working or they're not performing well in their sport. That's usually the first phone call. Can you help me with my sport? They come in for a session, let's do it. Not until you get them into that one-to-one environment that they then say, okay, my sport isn't performing. However, the reason is, something going on at home, or this is leading me to feel or it's work stress. It's something totally away from the sport. But again, because of, and again, the statistics will show it. Men aren't as good as opening up. But when men realise, okay, you've offered them this safe space to, discover what they need to discover. I don't give a shit whether it's about the sport or not, Tracy. My first role is to make sure that person is okay.
Yeah. And very often, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, because 9 times out of 10, naturally the sport will improve when they're feeling better at themselves. You need to kind of just get to the heart of what is leading them to feel a certain way, rather than just focusing on the sport and the performance side of it.
Yeah. And I think that people come with the sporting questions and, I've lost my confidence or I've lost motivation or whatever it might be. Exactly what you say. That's the most obvious manifestation, if you like, of the problem to them. But having a coach is so useful because the coach can ask you some questions and then you start thinking, well, actually, things at work aren't so good or things at home aren't so good. And it's almost like it just dawns on them then that actually it's not the sport or it's not me and my sport, it's not my performance. It's to do with everything else. My brain just is a bit overloaded with stress or whatever it might be that I'm still tense when I'm trying to do the sport. So I think that's a really important point, and lots of people don't realize that it's really useful to either have a friend or a coach or someone that you can talk to bring out that. So one of the phrases that I loved on your website, and I just need to look at my notes, was
it's not never unknowingly sold, is it?
it was. That's a good one.
John
But
Lewis.
yeah.
Wrong
It was.
website, Tracy.
It was tapping into your internal coach. I love that phrase. I've not seen that phrase before, tapping into your internal coach, but of course, that's what we are teaching people to do. So I know this is a big question, and we're not on the longest time, but how?
How?
Can you give us a tip, like a mindset tip or your favorite quick NLP piece of advice that helps somebody to tap into that internal coach?
In fact, I had a client yesterday. I told them to do this. They were still kind of fresh of mind, and something and again, we kind of touched on it earlier. Take what we've used and practice daily. Practice 5 minutes a day. Practice, just like you eat your dinner or brush your teeth, because it's a skill. You're retraining, a thought process that like we said, possibly could be a long time. Something I think is really powerful, and again, it's using visualization, it's using the old VAK, using everything, and spend time, whether that's 2-3 minutes a day, but it's consistency, all this, and just sit in a place where you are your best self that you want to be. Okay, and just notice what you see. So again, I generally tell people to close their eyes just to stop external distractions, and just take time just to sit with yourself. Visualization, visualizing what it looks like when you've achieved what you want to achieve, or how you kind of want to be, how you want things to currently be different than they are. And again, just notice what you notice, then through that kind of visualization, start noticing how it feels. and spend time on that. I was going to say future self, or that,
Yeah.
best self. And I'm doing the old commas here because, again, best self is, is different from people. Um, and I think that's the power, Tracy, is purely because we don't give ourselves time to actually do it.
Yeah.
Life is busy. Life is a million miles per hour. And I've never been one for meditation because I'm very. I need to move. I need to do something. Um, but the power in it is, okay, being present and actually using my mind purposefully, then, like it is owning businesses and having families and working, etc., etc. Your brain's going off in all different directions. Bills, mortgage, yeah, no, 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 and it happens because, hey, we live. We're realists. We live on a busy planet, but actually to purposely take time to just focus on you internally. Okay, how does that look when I'm my best self? Who's there? What do I see? And doing that consistently, I think, adds a level of a self-awareness, but it also helps you, open up different neural pathways to how things can be. Because if you can see it, you can achieve it. And I don't mean that in a fluffy way.
Yeah.
The fact is, you know, we're busy, and just to take time to sit on how you want to be in a consistent way, I think is massively powerful. You don't need a coach to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, just that, just be.
There is a lot of power in that, isn't there? And I
Mm,
think that's something that people discard, or they do for 30 seconds, or they do for 2 or 3 days, and then they think, oh, nothing's
mm,
changing, so I'm not going to do it. But
yeah.
like you mentioned, the consistency and doing it, almost putting it in your diary,
Mm,
because like you say, you get up, you brush your teeth, it's not in your diary, but it's a habitual thing that you do at a certain time.
mm,
Whereas that sitting on your own and sitting in your own stillness is not something that we put in the diary or we see as importantly, like, well, I'll do it later, or I'm too tired and then I'll do it tomorrow. But the changes that you see when you do it consistently are just amazing, aren't they? That you really, and it doesn't take a long time. That's what
mm,
always amazes me. We have 24 hours in a day, but you might do that for 5 minutes and you will see change.
mm. Can I ask you on that, Tracy? You being a trainer,
Oh,
can I
go
ask
on.
you again, because I love to learn. So just want to take something from you. What would you say then, Tracy? What's a good thing that you think is good?
A mindset tip.
Mm,
So I'm also with you on the visualization. So I think that because it's free, it's easy, and like you say, you don't need a coach. And if you can kind of soup it up with what you can see, what you can hear, what you could feel and emotionally, or touch, or smell even, and to have this multi-sensory, technicolor, surround sound visualization of what you want to achieve. And it might only be a very small thing. It might not be a big goal. It might just be, what do you want to achieve the next time you go out and perform your sport? And it may be a practice session, it may be a lesson, it doesn't matter. What would you like it to be like? And I think that's really powerful. And if you can also do it as you wake up, so rather than reaching for your phone and checking social media or emails or whatever, if you can do it when you're in that hazy time between wakefulness and sleep, when you're still kind of in that hypnotic kind of time, then you'll really power it up as well. So I
well,
really like that.
I
So I'm
noted all that down, so thank you.
well, I'm on the same wavelength as you,
Mm,
pretty similar. Um, with and I enjoy that stillness as well. I find that quite difficult to do, that stillness, but if I have something that's something to do, if you like, rather than sitting and meditating on a purple stone, then if I have something to do like visualization, then I find it a lot easier. But I think that's kind of underrated. I think
mm,
people think it's for the elite sports people, because we often read about elite sports people having, visualize their race or visualize their round or whatever it might be. And then you think, well, yeah, but they're trying to win Olympic gold, so they're going
Mm.
to do things like that. But actually it works for everybody. It doesn't matter what you want to achieve or what level you're at.
Mm. Brilliant. Yeah, you're right.
So for you, what does a typical day look like? There won't be a typical day. I know that's a silly question, but what kind of things happen in a typical day?
So a typical day for me looks like I get up. I've got two beautiful children to make sure they're up, etc., etc. Boys at college, daughters at school, so they go about their biz sort of thing. So when I'm up, I'll then real life stuff. Tracy, take the dog for a walk. The dog's a pug and she doesn't like to walk all the time, so I'm usually dragging the dog around the block. um, Let her do her business, pick up her business. So yes, all the good stuff we love to do. I don't know how specific you want me to be. No, but then
No,
I then
that's
go
great.
home.
Because people don't know what coaches do. What do you do all day? Do you have end to end to end to end clients, which nobody does?
No,
So what are you doing? People, I think
yeah.
it's like a bit of a window into your life. So yeah, so you've walked your little pug.
I do some work within like mental health supported sector as well.
Yeah.
I'm a health coach with like a national organisation. So we've got 5 projects here in Swindon. I allocate time to certain either staff members or um, customers who are within these supported living accommodations, and I spend time with these guys. Again, a lot of these guys are seeing therapists, etc., etc. But I just play a part in, if there's things they need support with, if there's goals they want to achieve, I just can help them kind of navigate, what they're
Yeah.
doing. Some of them just want to walk and talk, Tracy, so I'll, take them for walk and talks,
Yeah.
etc. To spend a bit of time here. Um, that flexes depending on then other clients I have. So today, for example, probably best off just doing like a day example. And then today I've got a new client start, and he's a young sports person. Um, he's coming in at 5 o'clock. Before that, I've got a lady who struggling with certain life elements. And again,
Yeah.
that's kind of the flexibility of NLP. Even though sport is my passion, because of the tools we've got, it means I have clients who are in business. I have clients who, just everyday life,
Yeah.
obviously wanting to achieve or change or do what they need to. So, day to day, my clients are varied. So yeah, to go back to what you asked, I'll fulfill this role. I've probably 12 o'clock. I'm actually on a suicide prevention training at
Oh,
1 o'clock to 2:30. Yes, I've got that. Um, and then I go home. I've got a client. No, so then I'll go home. I'm going to run because running is my non-negotiable. That's how I keep.
oh,
Running is my
brilliant.
therapy. Yeah,
Yeah.
running is my therapy. That's in the diary. Then I'm probably going to walk the dog, pick up the poo, all the stuff I did this morning. And then my kids will come home, so I'll have a little chat with them. But before then, I've got, like I say, a client at 3:15, and I've got one at 5 o'clock, and then I'm in family mode. I think me, my wife, and 2 children are out tonight. Yeah, and what I love about what I do, Tracy, is because, and I think as coaches, we need to kind of pocket for ourselves as well, just to kind
Yeah.
of re kind of balance where we are from session to session. When I
Yeah.
first came into coaching, I just thought, do you know what? I just want 8 hours a day of clients. Do you know what?
You can't.
Eight, no,
You
even
just
half of that,
don't. No.
even half of that is a lot, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
people might underestimate how consuming it can be, because you're fully focused on client,
Yeah.
and it can be, yeah, really emotionally draining. Yeah.
Yeah, and quite tiring because you're thinking on your feet all the time, aren't you? Because
Mm,
you're constantly monitoring how the client's doing. Is this working? Is it working as well as I'd hoped? Shall I do something else? And you're constantly thinking. So, yeah,
mm.
Oh, 8 hours. I couldn't do 8 hours. Oh, wow. Wow. I've done it occasionally on like specialized days, like a whole Saturday, where I've
Hmm.
seen back-to-back riders, but wow, I'm
Wow.
tired at the end of that day. Wow, my head is spinning.
Yeah. But I
So,
train mental health first aid as well. And even that,
yeah,
if I'm, if I'm half a day or a day or 2 days fully delivering that, for me, it is very consuming, as you know,
yeah,
Tracy, because you're facilitating, you're gauging people, the questions, as well as kind of, doing,
yeah, yeah,
doing what you're there to do is the slides and getting everything, sorted. It can be very consuming. In fact, I feel more tired, emotionally when I'm doing these things than I've ever felt physically,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. But it
like,
is, I think, the best job that I've ever had. It's the best job in the world, and it's so rewarding, and I absolutely love it. And I can tell from, the way you're talking with so much passion that you love it as well.
yeah, I do, and again,
Yeah.
I'm always honoured, and people say, "Thanks, John. Thanks for helping me." And I'll say, "Well, do you know what? Thank you for trusting me. Thank
Yeah,
you for putting your trust in me to be able to help you."
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mm,
So where can we find you on the internet and on socials? I'm going to put it in the
okay.
description box as well, but just let us know now.
Oh, thank you. So I would say, don't Google John Lewis because that's going to bring you up a whole other website. So yeah, jlmindsetperformance.co.uk is my website. JL Mindset Performance is my business. I'm on Facebook as John Lewis. JL Mindset Performance on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, John Lewis. I'm on Instagram. That's got letters and numbers and stuff, and I can't think what that is off the top of John Mindset, I think it is, but replacing letters with. I'll send you that. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
put
yeah.
it.
We'll pop it all in the description box, a link to your
Yeah.
website, to your socials and everything. Thank you ever so much. That has been absolutely fascinating. And thanks for giving up your time this morning to chat to me.
No, thank you very much, Tracy. I really enjoyed that. And it's great to speak to somebody with your knowledge and experience as well. Even us as coaches, we're still learning, and we don't have the blueprint to life.
No, no, not yet, not yet.
You're working on it.
Yeah, still working on it. Thanks, John. Take
Thank
care.
you, Tracy. Take care.